welcome to your Daily Stock Report, brought to you by QualityStocks.net, where performance is tracked daily. I'm Cathy Rankin, and yay, it's Friday, May 18th, and we're bringing you the latest news from around the markets, as well as the top movers to look out for today. In our headline news, with the Dow hitting record after record, it wasn't surprising Thursday to see the bulls take a bit of a breather. A late-day resurgence in buying activity did briefly lift the blue-chip indices past the green, or into the green, with the Dow surpassing 13,500 for the first time ever. However, sellers eventually got the last laugh as their efforts, albeit unimpressive, were just enough to take some froth out of a market that looks ripe for an even more convincing pullback, with long-term optimism still overpowering the fundamentals. Among the main catalysts arming the bears with enough to stall the underlying bullish momentum that has vaulted stocks virtually uncontested for several weeks now was mixed economic data and soaring oil prices. Before the bell, initial claims unexpectedly fell 5,000 to 293,000. That was the lowest level since mid-January and consistent with tight labor conditions. However, with high levels of resource utilization still a main concern among policymakers, the data actually removed some of the optimism toward the Fed easing later in the year. At 12 o'clock Eastern Time, the Philadelphia Fed Index checked in at a 4-month high. While the May reading of 4.2 didn't translate to a strong growth path, it did signal a slight improvement after 3 consecutive sub-1 readings. Nonetheless, with the market now viewing improvements in economic growth to imply the Fed will merely remain on hold, the data also sidelined overly optimistic rate cut scenarios. Fed Chairman Bernanke also chimed in with some remarks. He said the Fed sees no significant spillovers from the subprime market to the rest of the economy or to the financial system, but he also noted that subprime lending curbs will restrain housing. Surging oil prices also acted as a headwind for the bulls. Renewed optimism surrounding the energy sector's earnings potential given higher energy prices initially gave a sluggish market lacking leadership anywhere else a decent lift. Of the 8 sectors trading lower, utilities and healthcare paced the way lower with modest declines of 0.5% and 0.4% respectively, while energy surged 1.3%. When it was all said and done, though, oil's uptick and the commodity's potential to sustain inflation pressures eventually fed into the diminishing likelihood of a Fed easing in the near term. And now for our small cap news, brought to you today by our good friends at Nascent Wine Company. Nascent Wine Company Incorporated is one of Baja, Mexico's largest food distributors, marketing and distributing over 1,400 national and proprietary brand food and non-food products to over 1,000 customers. Genoil Incorporated announced today that each of the outside directors of the corporation has been granted 250,000 options pursuant to the corporation's stock option plan with an exercise price of 61 cents. Genoil also announced late last month that it has entered into a definitive testing agreement with Haibei-Zhangjiang Petrochemical Group Company for testing of their heavy oil at Genoil's pilot plant. The testing will determine operating conditions and optimization of the Genoil GHU process required to move this project into the front-end engineering and design phase. Reed's Incorporated shares got a nice boost after news of record sales combined with a peak in investor interest regarding gourmet sodas and specialty beverages. Today, Reed's posted some extraordinary first-quarter numbers, including a net sales increase of 52.2% to approximately $3 million compared to the same period last year, as well as an increase in gross profit up 85.8% to approximately $540,000. The company also announced 2 new distribution agreements this month, one with Manhattan Beer Distributors, a leading distributor of brand-name beverages, for distribution of the Reed's, Virgil's, and China Cola brands throughout Metro New York, which includes New York City, Long Island, and the 7 counties north of the city. And that's it for our newsmakers. Stay tuned right here to Quality Stocks Daily for the latest commentary on small cap to large cap and everything in between, brought to you by QualityStocks.net. Also, make sure to watch for the Quality Stocks Daily newsletter, which is available each trading day through QualityStocks.net. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great weekend. We'll see you again Monday on the Daily Report.
You've got it.